bewildering diversity of shapes and sizes that you see of these sponges in the deep sea.
Yeah, let me come all the way out. It is full wide, a little bit Irish for you.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, I'm definitely not moving. So.
Great. Do you want to come down towards me then? Are you comfortable with that, or do you want to move the ship in?
I think I'm comfortable with that.
Which would
Coming
you like?
Down
Coming down a little?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to make sense of what's behind me on sonar. I believe it's a reflection, but it's a weird consistency.
I see.
So yeah, if you want to
even
come
just
down 10 meters.
Even just a few, yeah,
5.
we can. Just a few will help take the heave out, I think.
Copy that. Come down to 1310.
Thanks. Anything else at this depth, science, that's interesting? Maybe this guy?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Okay. We can continue up the wall if you'd like. We're almost near the top of this wall. Come on in, video. Yeah, you can go.
I'm late.
Sorry.
Quite all right. Holding.
So yeah, that good catch there, pilot. So this is the first time we've imaged a corallium or pink coral during this dive.
Still a little tether, but that's all right.
I think it's just because you're
And so yeah, this is likely in the genus Hemicorallium. Pink or red corals are interesting. Here in Hawaii, there was at one point a fishery for these animals, not up here in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, but in the main Hawaiian Islands, off Makapu, there's a dense aggregation of these animals where they were collected. And so these animals are collected for their skeletons, which if you remove the tissue, they have these very shiny pink skeletons that are manufactured into jewelry. This is done has been done by humans for a long time, and in fact, artifacts made out of pink coral have been found with archaeological remains from the ancient Egyptians. So there's a long history of humans using these type of corals for jewelry. Now you might ask yourself, how did these ancient civilizations get access to them? There's actually some pink coral species that are found quite shallow in the Mediterranean. But yeah, in the early 1800s and 1900s, parts of the Mediterranean were dredged for these corals. So in a lot of cultures, artifacts made out of these things were considered to fend off evil spirits. Another interesting fact about corallium, so the family that this is, so that's what gave all corals kind of their common name. So it's,
I got a toe in.
But yeah, beautiful animals. And then in the middle, you say a Ascaris so one of these basket stars. You see those coiled arms, a very common association we have. And a lot of times it's the same individuals staying with the same colony for their entire lifespan. So associations like that have been studied in shallow water corals, including black corals, where you have those associations, and they've tracked individual trees for decades and seen actually that the same animal hangs on to the same tree.
Pilot to center it up for you.
We have a request from the scientists on shore in the chat room to get lasers for scale, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Let me know when you're clear, video.
You can laser.
Lasers.
I think they're at a frame just bottom, so I'm okay.
Okay.
And let's get some scale on it. There they are. I can iris down for a second if you want to see them better.
I can see them just fine.
Okay.
So yeah, those lasers are 10 centimeters apart, about 4 inches. So that's a smaller animal.
Scale, although it sounds like science got it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. wide.
So I talked about the fishery a little bit.
Next video.
So yeah, that fishery is currently dormant. There is still a fishery for black corals here in
with
Hawaii.
the current coming from east to west, I'm going to be turning my
not here in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, but in the main Hawaiian Islands, and that's for 3 species that are found within scuba diving depths.
Yeah.
And are harvested at depths around like 100 to 300 feet.
North to south, though, right?
And,
yes. My apologies. Yeah. Sorry.
So Hawaii is.
I was looking at the ship heading instead of mine for a second there.
Interesting in that regard. That's the only place in the United States where we still have that active fishery, but in many other places of the world, including in many Southeast Asian countries and East Asian countries, as well as in the Caribbean, there's still active fisheries for several groups of corals to manufacture jewelry.
So, a few coral, but otherwise, looking at all my cameras, I don't see a whole lot of animals.
Yeah, and
along here. I'm going to do a scan across here and see if I can find something along the wall. See if there's anything jutting out of interest. I see a head or two out there maybe. That might be something really big over there, huh?
Possibly a sponge, yeah.
Looks like there's a little.
So yeah, as you can,
looks like you got another wall shooting off to your right.
As you can see from this wider shot, including if you have access to the Sirius, very
far out.
very barren kind of substrate here.
Yeah, just get eyes on it first, maybe.
Look at this overhang, huh?
Yeah, what is it?
I just caught it in my mini Zeus. Yeah, tilt up.
If we go up any. Back up.
Hello.
So I'm looking straight up right now. Or, yeah, 75 degrees up.
Wow.
So in my light pool, we caught the eye of this steep feature sticking out here. And there are some little critters. Look at this.
There's one straight ahead.
Yeah, actually,
Like,
I don't know if we've seen these yet. Take a quick zoom real quick.
Coming in.
Yeah.
Turning my heading to center you up, get you some more light.
Thanks a lot.
There you go.
Yeah, we've got some mussels and stuff in there.
Haven't seen those.
Yeah, so we have another one of these feather stars or comatulate crinoids to the top.
Just going to scan around there. I don't want to really drive down in there, so this is close.
So those are bivalves, yeah.
We can
mollusks.
Zoom from here and scan it just to see what kind of life there is.
Spectacular imagery here of this very steep terrain.
But still haven't got the full view of it in Sirius yet as we scan around, and I'm backing and coming up real slow, keeping my eye on it. But yeah, the full scale of it with Sirius is not apparent yet. So I'm going to back up a little here.
Coming full wide.
Yeah, and Scott just made an interesting observation, suggesting that he feels like he's in a canyon now with all those bivalves.
Yeah.
So there's also our first mushroom coral of today's dive. Out in the distance, they're kind of center of screen. Haven't seen those guys on today's dive. One of the more conspicuous members of the coral fauna in deeper waters.
One thing we generally don't do is cave driving with the Sirius. I don't want to drive under here. We can look from here.
Can we just zoom into that coral on the bottom left? There's a request.
That big white?
Yep.
Blinky one? Yep, of course. Let me come back down to it. Get as much light as we can on it here.
Look okay up and down right there.
Thanks. Okay, video.
Coming in.
Come on in. Just help me keep an eye on this while I try to keep this in frame. Shuttle pilot. If it looks at all dangerous, just holler and I'll scoot out. Scoot away.
Will do.
I'm going to try to hold it right here at this safe distance.
Coming in a little bit more.
Thanks.
Feels like we're drifting back slightly.
Yeah, I'm nervous about driving in, so I'm making an effort not to do that, but I will. There we go. How's that?
It's okay. It's still pretty far away, but
Yeah,
it's an image without having to get under that cliff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is what we can get without getting under there. I don't want to.
I can give you a little more zoom.
Yeah,
here
no,
so you
we'll
guys
take what we
yeah.
can get. Thank you. Yeah, that looks, I agree with Tina, more like a primnoid. And,
Yeah, a little more.
and those bivalves that we saw to the right, yeah, that's the very first time we've seen this. So, none of the dives last year. So we did get an 18 dives in this area last year, and none of them we imaged bivalves like that. And I don't know if that's been seen in any of the hurl dives. So maybe, I don't know, Chris, if you can talk to that effect. I certainly haven't seen
coming out.
those bivalves.
Next video.
So, pilot, as we come out of Zoom, is there any chance that we can maybe move around this feature and try and get a better idea of what exactly is going on here? I'm going to go out on a limb and think that this is actually one large, very thick dike intrusion, but...
Little saddle area.
So you want to sidle along the wall towards the east and see it, or do you want to go up and over it to see it?
I think, if I'm correctly oriented right now, I think this would be to the north.
Bivalves that look quite similar.
Yeah,
I wonder
made that
if
mistake again.
you might
You're
want
right.
to comment on
Do you
that.
want me to sidle to the north? Do you want me to sidle right or up and over?
Sorry, Chris, you cut out. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, so those bivalves
I'll
look
pick
pretty
up,
similar
and we'll
to
get
some
an
things
idea if we
that
can
were
get the
seen in
expanse
the
from
Line
here.
Islands around Palmyra and Kingman. And Bruce Mundy was on those dives. Maybe he has a comment about them, but they look similar to me.
You can do is just
Excellent. Thank you, Chris.
the ship is currently drilling holes. If we vary from that at all.
Bruce, any...
This is Bruce. Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can find...
Yeah, this is Bruce.
Crest here.
I'm embarrassed about this, but Chris, those dives were long enough ago that
I
I
would
actually
say.
don't remember.
And I am
it looks like there's
in
a fish
there.
on the lower part of the video, by the way.
I
That's
think I
just
see the edge.
cruising down. Looks like maybe an ophidian.
Yes, please.
Anyway, I'm embarrassed, but I actually don't remember much about the bivalves at the Line Islands now, so I have to review those videos to refresh my memory. I apologize for that.
Oh, no worries. But yeah, we do have a fish for you there. Maybe we can do a quick snap zoom if we can.
Snap on the fish video.
Fish,
real
Roger.
quick.
Coming in, holding, coming in, holding. He's way far away.
Yeah, I'm a distance out.
Yeah,
but they want
there
to
he
get
is.
a quick view on it. We're looking at his belly. You see his two
Yeah.
little feelers.
Yeah.
His tail is towards us.
Yeah, agreed. He's
So
down.
Bruce has provided here
Kind of looking at his right side now.
a tentative ID as a ophidid and
a little more.
a
He's a long way off.
Chinus bassogigas.
I think we have an ID though.
But yeah, spectacular
Thanks.
topography.
Roger,
All right.
coming out.
Um, But yeah, needless to say, even if the closest that we remember something like to those bivalves was in the Line Islands, so
Fire and figure out where it is.
quite a bit south of here. So again, something new for this area.
Okay, I'm coming up with you.
Because I have it on sonar still, and I'm back.
Of course, I'm going to say that this is the very first time that we are diving on a feature of this kind of topography in this area.
Coming up and backing.
So I think our Z directions are clear for now, but we may as well characterize the rest of this here.
Am I still under it?
I'm still seeing it up there.
Yeah, I still see.
There's some reflection on the right-hand side in that organism center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just. We're gonna sort this out real quick, and unless there's something really pressing for a zoom.
Can we get the upper arms so we can see more light?
Negative.
Upper arms on the on this would not be a good idea.
Depth right here is 1,300 meters.
That's interesting.
And you can, we're looking straight up there, and you can see
this
how
is a nose that sticks out here.
how steep that topography
Might be
is.
seeing the top of it on
This might
Sirius
be it.
there.
Maybe, yeah.
I think I see the right side.
Just
the right edge.
beautiful, and if for those folks who have access to the Sirius
Still coming up.
view, that's how three-dimensional this area is. We have a
Okay,
chrysogorgid coral there to our left.
Leveling off a little.
Yeah, I have a... Well, it's hard to tell.
This is the bridge. Go ahead.
Can I update our bailout?
Maybe we can take a look at that coral right to the top. That looks like an anemone, maybe at the top of the screen. Brownish.
There's a top-looking feature.
Yeah, that's.
You can see that lip there.
Yep. And look at, you can see the top in sonar now.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, we're just gonna. We haven't moved the ship at all, so all of the things you've seen are still things we can still look at. I just want to get up and take a peek up here to make sure we're safe before we continue.
Roger that.
We just want to get a peek and make sure this is really the top of that feature.
Turn heading and come by.
Yes, please. Yeah, and shine your light on this so we can get a good view of it. So, there you go. This looks like it appears to be the top of that feature.
Yeah, so beautiful. So we've climbed. Actually, now we're just under 1,300 meters. So that's 200 meters of relief from where we started to dive, and near vertical face.
So very interesting. Now, this face right here is safe for me to explore. Was there something on it that you wanted to see? I was not paying very good attention to what you were asking.
So yeah, it's kind of on the lower portion to the little off center to right, a brownish looking.
Nice, do you see that? I'll get in a little closer here and we can take a look.
I'll kind of keep this angle and follow you up and down.
Yes,
If you
that
want
sounds good
to do
to
some
me.
zooms.
Yep.
Does that wall on the right
And,
just continue to fall away, or does it come back towards us?
It looks like it. We saw the tip of it off in the distance.
And I think
I don't have it.
Chris got it, so that's an octocoral and
I think it falls away.
part of the chrysogorgids, and looks like it's Rodan iridogorgia, and then a purple one that I think is
Are you iris really high, or am I close?
Victor Gorgia,
You're coming in. I'm
nodding
writing
eye.
it down as you come
2.5
in.
meters away. All right, thanks.
Yeah, so this is the first time we've seen this on this expedition. They are
Touch my toe real quick.
quite
Good shot of this.
common in some places, but we haven't seen them in the previous 3 dives.
Is that enough light for you, video?
I think so. I've got it iris pretty far down. I'm at F8.
Okay.
I got some hot spots there in the top left.
Hot spots in the top left.
Yeah, once those go away, I'll be able to open up a little more.
Showing's a little close for comfort. All right, we're going to just do this from the water column. No.
Sure. I'll keep it a little wider. Ready to come
on in? Yep.
Coming in. Gonna hold right there.
Thanks. Come in a little more if you want.
Coming in.
I am coming in as well.
Looks like we have a shrimp on it, potentially.
Yeah, I agree. One shrimp.
And so there's a commensal shrimp.
Pushing up a little. And I am coming in closer for you, video.
Yeah, I feel that. Thank you.
Just trying to light it up for you.
There's also a small anemone growing on it
I'm just going to...
towards the center. And we see a couple of branches that are dead towards the distal portion of the colony.
I just wanted to do a comms check here on this headset I've got.
So yeah, once
All right, can you keep
portions
talking? I
die,
just wanna double check,
you
just
can
keep
see
talking.
then the exposed skeleton underneath.
Okay, can you hear me now?
And yeah, so.
Hi, Daniel. Scott France calling in.
I deselected the headset. I just
Hey,
wanna
Scott.
make sure it works.
How are you doing? It looks like this Iridogorgia looks like it has a second main axis coming out now at the top of the screen. And I'm wondering if that's because there was damage to the top main growing part of this colony and basically another axis took over. It almost looks like one colony growing out perpendicular from the other. That's fairly unusual for these Iridogorgia type.
How do you think there's a way to
Excellent,
get a
yeah,
shot
thank
of
you
that
very much,
large
Scott.
branch
So that
coming
was
over that
Scott France from the University of Louisiana, Lafayette, one of the foremost experts on deep-sea octocorals and a wide variety of other deep-sea groups. So yeah, thank you, Scott, for providing that context.
Can I go ahead in there?
And Mary Wixon from Texas A&M has also provided a
video saying it.
tentative ID for that commensal shrimp that's in the center of the colony, and it's likely in the genus Bathypelimonella.
Took my hands off the sticks because the sounds are getting a little overwhelming. Where do you want to zoom?
That large branch coming off almost near the base, halfway between the tip and the base. There's a large vertical branch.
Oh, I
up.
do see that. Okay.
Yeah. See what
a swirling one.
Causing that.
Yeah. So you want to see at the base?
Right where you are now.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you very much for that beautiful close-up imagery.
Best I can.
If anyone's hearing our audio announcements, that's just a drill. Trying to get focus on it, it's a whole nother matter.
Sorry, hard to hold.
I got it. Yeah, it's not really informing how or why that's there.
If we do have a second, there's also a request to take a quick peek at that purple coral that's to the right.
Nice organism, though. Thank you, pilot.
Yep.
Then there was one more below and to the coming all the way out. The right, the purple one,
the purple
bottom, yeah.
Bottom and yeah, right.
For that. I'm sure that it looks like it's growing this way, so I'll swing around towards the left.
That red to the bottom, that's a mushroom coral in the genus Anthomastus, and dead ahead is another type of octocoral, and that's in the genus Victorigorgia. The species is nutting eye.
Yep. Like
named after Professor Nutting, who actually described a lot of the corals that were collected by the Albatross expedition that spent some time in this area over 110 years ago.
Just a little bit.
Just pushing up some.
I'm just holding.
Thank you.
There you
go. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
I think we got a good idea on it.
Holding.
Yeah, purple coloration is one of these things that it's unusual for these steps. We don't typically see it for octocorals. We've seen one plexaurid that has that kind of coloration. There's this octocoral as well as a stoloniferan octocoral that we imaged for the first time last year. But in general, yeah, purple coloration is very rare for these steps.
I can try and get in tight if you want.
All right, let me go back up.
A little bit of bounce.
Go back up and acquire if you want to get in tight.
Let me come out for you for a moment.
Yep, thanks. Just still trying to
just pull wide.
Fight the current a little here.
So, pilot, I'd like to request that we kind of maybe keep moving to our right. It kind of looks like, from a couple of other views, like this feature is starting to cut into the cliff a little bit. It'd be nice to see if we can find another sharp contact like we did a little bit ago to the left, where there was that obvious boundary between the rock we're looking at and the cliff face that we were ascending right before.
Holding.
Yeah. Well, actually, did you want to image that contact?
We have a good image of the contact that we saw earlier, but I'd kind of try and bet that there's another contact similar to the one we saw earlier on the right side of us.
Okay. I was curious with the
I'm
pilot.
just moving the focus around as we down. You want me to come out?
Do that for you, probably.
Thanks. Come on out.
Coming
Sorry.
out.
Can we just
Noise.
get the lasers
What-
on that
what are
really
we
quick?
looking at?
Let's laze that.
Pilot, your aft flat needs to be reset.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that might. Yeah. You said that now. Thanks a lot. That might help. Thanks a lot.
Can we just get the lasers on real quick?
Sorry, video. Repeat your last.
Laze.
Lasers on.
There we
Yep.
go.
Roger that. That's
Come around
perfect.
so we can get it mostly from the side.
Yeah, no, I think that's good enough just to give us a general sense. So about 20 centimeters in height.
And come up a little. Get it on there.
Yeah, I think we're good there.
And
Bam.
laced.
That's it.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Okay.
Coming out. Full wide.
What was the next? What was the request?
I was just double checking with WatchLead to see if they wanted an image where the kind of shear, where that contact point was.
Yeah, so I think we got a really
down
good.
below, or up.
I'll let him. I think
So
turn over.
yeah, there was that sharp contact right before we started looking at this feature to our left, but we got a good image of that sharp contact between the cliff face that we were looking at and the rock we're looking at now, but I bet that there's another contact, a similar type of feature, located further to our right, so I was going to request that we kind of just keep on traversing, if I'm correctly oriented, to the north.
Okay.
And if we can see if we can find the other side of this feature, it'd be very interesting. So this resembles some of the dikes that we were looking at earlier, where there's a sharp contact, obvious contact between the two different rock types.
Thanks.
But the only difference is that this is not a tabular type of feature. This is more of a, well, I don't even really know the shape of it just until we get to the other side.
Yeah,
But
we'll
it'd be very interesting.
We'll have to make that move very carefully, because moving sideways along a wall that we know things are jutting off of, it can be dangerous.
Yep. Copy that.
But I'll have to stretch out to my tether, and when we see all the features of the wall at that extent are safe, then we can move Sirius to follow after if we need to trail along.
Great.
So I'll have to stretch out and acquire, then we'll hang out for a little bit at that spot, and then move Sirius.
Great. Copy that. Thank you, pilot.
Yep. Pushing out towards the wall here.
Pilot, how constant is the motor VAC typically?
What do you mean?
Installation
So yeah,
distance.
Scott
Not
just made another very interesting observation here in the chat room, and that's something that we see often is that you see these unbranched corals
Something about
curved upwards,
thrusting and
and
moving
all the
about.
sand-shaped corals oriented
you
in the
get
same
Strange-
direction,
Strange reactions
and
from
so
the
that gives you an
vendors.
idea of where the
Pilot
current
video
flow is
now,
coming
just
from.
record. I was gonna zoom in a little, get rid
current
of that
depth is
lens flare, but now it's all-
1,292
Oh, yeah,
meters.
sorry, that's just because I'm trying to look up ahead of me.
Yep.
Coming up with you, pilot.
I'm
Thanks.
just going to do the slightest push to get rid of that.
Is this-
just there.
Is this where are we at now? Have you come down at all when I took last images?
Yeah, I
Oh,
came
okay.
down when I followed you.
Gotcha. I didn't realize I was using you as a vertical reference,
Oh,
and I thought
yes.
we were seeing another crest here, but this is the same one.
no.
So it looks like we might have just come across another one of the contacts. You can kind of see the obvious change in rock structure that's in view right now.
Sidle around this guy here.
This is a very odd feature, and so because it doesn't have this tabular and more vertical shape, and it has more of a organic and oblong type of irregular type of shape, I think that this.
Is this sheet flow?
I'm not sure what that is, but that looks a lot different than the other one. It doesn't look like sheet flow because it doesn't have that obvious tabular type of structure that's oriented horizontally.
Would it
But
help
I
to
think
get a little closer?
Yeah, I think the manganese crust is kind of limiting
okay. So
the details of any kind of flow structures. But
Okay, well I'll just keep settling right here then.
yeah, so you
Along
see
here.
that almost orthogonal angle that we're kind of looking at just below the screen.
This angle here?
Yeah, so if we
So that's a jut. I mean, you want to take a closer look at it here?
Oh, no, I don't need to take a closer look, but if we can maybe follow that to the right a little bit, just try and get an idea of the shape of what this thing is. And the overhead from Sirius...
Maybe a big chunk fell off. You can see here the...
Yeah, so I think the reason that a big chunk fell off is this is like the obvious contact or boundary between two different rock types. I think the one on top of it is a lava flow. I think the one that is just below it, based on some of the more angularity of some of the fractures that we've been looking at for the past few minutes, I think this is actually a trapped magma chamber, or not a full-on magma chamber, but a trapped magma body. So, whereas the dikes were trapped in the subsurface below all the lava flows, but they maintain this very flattened vertical pancake structure.
So you can see that sort of ends there, and then we have another large feature.
Yeah, curious. Yeah, okay, well.
And so it might be, I don't know if it's, you want to try to follow along this?
No, that's okay. I kind of think I got a good idea from it from the Sirius cam. So if you looking down at D2, slightly behind it is, I think, where that contact continues on and goes down. But I think I'm pretty convinced now that I saw the contact between the two go from vertical to horizontal, back down to vertical. I think that this is more of like a spherical type of shape, and I was mentioning that I think this is just kind of a trapped magma body that was emplaced in the rock instead of like a dike sheet. It's very, very cool feature.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Thanks.
My pleasure.
So are we kind of in this area now for a while, or are we on the move?
We are not moving. I've just been silent along the wall. If there's something of interest, I can try to get it for you.
So there were a couple of corals on the wall, and there's a couple of requests here in the chat room to get some closer looks.
Okay.
Some branching.
Back towards the left?
Yeah, left and up.
Really flat sheet?
Correct.
Okay, yep, we can run over there real quick. Come up. And push ahead.
Current depth is 1,292 meters.
The one on the right, straight ahead, has either a squat or a C star or something.
Just to give folks
this is great. I've got a little nice little shelf to put my toe on.
Update. So
we'll fly up here.
We're going to be coming off the bottom a little before 4 o'clock Hawaii time. So that would give us about 2.5 hours, a little over 2.5 hours of bottom time here remaining. We are going to try to make it to the top of this feature, which is at around 1,150 meters.
Is this the one you're talking about, video?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is this of interest, science?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Okay. Trying to make sure everybody's happy here. And we'll set down real quick. Okay. Co-pilot, would you mind taking my camera for me and tilting towards the
affirmative
specimen in question?
Tilting up.
Thank you.
Hi guys, I see somebody just asked a question. I'm not sure if it was John or Dan about the comment I made that it looks, you can see there's no corals growing on the flat part of the rock here, but there are several on the walls. And I suspect it's because the currents are being deflected by the walls.
You're being pushed all my verticals, so whatever they want to see,
on those flat surfaces you have sediment accumulation, and that's going to be a problem for any larval settlement. And if the corals are growing slowly, essentially they'll be buried before they get a chance to get to the size where they can feed. Likely exceptions to that are things like sea patterns and other corals that are adapted for living in sediments. But those are some ideas.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott.
So the coral that we just imaged is a primnoid coral.
I think we have an ID.
And Chris Kelly has just provided an idea. That's Calyptrophora wyvli.
Any particular shot you'd like, video?
No, I think we've got this.
Okay.
I think there's more we want to take a look at here.
Absolutely.
They're full wide.
Thank you. What's the next specimen?
Maybe atop the screen, that sea star. It looks like in the family Bersingidae. We have not got a close-up of those.
Okay.
Do you want it back?
No, you can keep it.
Coming up.
Probably gonna try to get a tow right here for this guy too.
Copy that. You look clear.
Thanks.
That's a sea star?
I'm not sure what that is. Actually, yeah. Let's tilt it down a little for me.
Copy.
I'm gonna come up above it a little more.
Sea star, so that's...
Thanks.
oh, absolutely.
That's
Oh, it's moving.
Yeah.
oh,
It looked like a sea star,
spider.
but I think it is a pycnogonid. Yeah, and Roland
Sorry,
spotted
take
it
that
here
up.
first.
Coming back up.
I can come in now if you want.
Yep.
Get some of that white out of the shot.
So that's the first pycnogonid
Close.
we got here on this trip. Commonly known as sea spiders.
Do you want more light on that video?
Take as far as
You
you can.
have it.
Daniel, could you put lasers on that?
Yeah, can we get the lasers?
Lasers are on.
There you go. So a little over 10 centimeters.
We try and jump in and get tight while we're here
Yeah.
and stable.
Please go for it. Whatever you'd like. Oh, got a little flare in the lens there.
I've not seen one of these before, so there's no actual large body. That's it, right?
Can you tilt me up just a touch?
Coming up.
Yeah, just bring the oh, that's all right.
Whoa. My iris
And
is just
Mary
so
Wixon
sorry.
from
that was me.
Texas A&M University
that was
has
you.
provided tentative ID.
Thanks, co-pilot.
It's in
We
the
have more
family
light now.
Colosinidae and a genus Colosendes. Colossal, kind of part of that name. So
It's gonna
just
change your light a little again.
in
video,
reference
try
to
get
the
rid of
huge
those
size of
flares.
the
Just
sea
one on the top
spider,
and
so
bottom.
that's probably about 15 centimeters wide. It's a huge
Try to come out a little more. And see
sea
if that
star.
tells us anything.
sea spider. Sorry.
Just
That's
pointing
from
in
the
our
top,
eyes.
I
Yeah.
Go,
think.
go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, we
Is that
tilted
from
those.
Sirius?
No, we tilted those down to give you more light
Oh, right.
on the critter,
like
but
it's feeding on
it just
either
adds
some
flare
kind
in
of
the lens
cnidarian,
because I'm
either
pointing
a
up
polyp
a little bit.
or
Yeah.
a jellyfish. So if
You're
it's
up
at
about-
all
are you up
possible to
75?
maneuver a bit so we can see what's on the
Yeah.
end of
That's
the
actually not
proboscis.
from the up.
I'm
That'd
up.
be interesting. It's not a
No, I'm up 50.
often seen observation.
I'm gonna try to
Barrage
do
with
Come
that,
back in.
Scott. And
This is good here, right? There's no flares.
so yeah, there's a request to see if we could zoom in on what is potentially feeding.
Okay.
So another close up. So yeah,
There's a little more light. I tilted the lowers
Is
in.
that all you've got, video?
That's full zoom.
Full zoom. All right.
These
I'm not sure
sea
what part of the
spiders are
organism
actually
is
kind
of
of
interest. I'm
suction
going to where
feeders.
the legs
So
join.
the
Yeah, just in
end
the
of
middle,
that muscular
where the head
proboscis
looks like it could be a head.
muscular
Sorry, just
action
yeah,
Right there.
it has to be in there. Yeah.
from the prey.
It says
and
they're
they
possibly
are known
feeding.
To be somewhat of a specialist.
Not sure if I'm
On
looking at the
cnidarian?
right end.
I can't tell if some people
Critter.
are suggesting that's one of the small jellies we've been seeing swim in the water column, or if that's just like a young anthomastus or something, and those are mesenterial filaments sticking out. And unfortunately, there's one leg of the sea spider kind of in the way to get a really nice view of what it's feeding on. But regardless, this is a fairly unique observation for the deep sea. So a great spot by Roland.
indeed, yeah. And thank you so much, Scott, for providing that context. Yeah. So as Scott mentioned, they are or have been implied to be predators of several
Clear
corals.
video.
But kind of in situ observations of these animals are extremely difficult and rare to get. So this is an unusual observation to see one of these sea spiders actually in the process of feeding. So these animals most of them are only known from collections and trawls, and as a result you don't know
That's full wide.
the behavior, how these things look like when they were in their natural environment, what they were feeding on.
Sorry.
And yeah, so they're very valuable, these kinds of
Yeah,
observations in their natural environment.
What's what's the other object of interest?
Yeah, to the left, the coral.
That bushy-looking one, or the string-looking one, or not on screen right now?
Yeah, on screen to the very left. So there's one right, second one over to the left.
Okay, I'll take off for that and fly over there. Get a little better angle and a better light.
Looks like there's some dead branches.
Co-pilot, can I take my camera back?
Sure.
And tilt me up a little.
Coming up.
Thank you. Video, come on in.
Coming in.
Thank you.
There's lasers.
Holding.
So yeah, it looks like most of the material is dead. I was hoping that some branches are still alive. So
There is some live polyps on there. Do you want to try to get it?
no, that's all right. It's going to be very difficult to get an ID.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, video,
coming out.
Thank
if
you.
there's anything you want, we can stay, but otherwise I'm happy.
You have better things to image here.
Yep.
We're full wide.
Better fish to fry.
Concur.
And pilot, you have your camera back.
Thank you, co-pilot. Okay. Do you think that's of the same type there?
Yeah.
Actually, do you want to try to get that?
Possibly. No, we can go ahead and move. We got.
All right. Just making sure.
Still a little bit of flare. Can I just zoom past that?
Let me just tilt down a little here for you. And is that? Oh yeah. Actually, co-pilot might be able to help you with that.
Yeah, I got you.
So our depth right now is
But you're free to
1,289
zoom
meters.
partial as long as there is a flare.
We are diving on a very steep pinnacle
Also getting a lot of
off the northern
shadowing
side
or
of
double
Pioneer
imaging
Bank.
on this monitor.
Like ghosting on the
Yeah, ghosting. That's the
areas
word
of
I'm
high contrast, like the top
Yeah.
of this ridge.
Actually, in the shadows, I'm getting
Oh.
ghosting most.
We adjusted that monitor the other night, so it
Yeah.
wasn't blowing you guys out. How about this? Is that a sponge on the right?
Yeah.
See if that
I think we
helps
saw one
with
of
the
those
flare.
yesterday. Yeah, coming all the way out. It's still there.
Yeah.
Might be
everything's back
might
to-
be a might be a piece of metal on. Might have to wiggle a jaw or something to get rid of it.
That
But-
one might have been better to image when it had black behind it. This one on the corner.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was looking at the flare.
Yeah, all the swing arms are back to normal config. I'm gonna come up here, get
Make
the
those
tether
little
out of the way.
filia or what,
Okay.
whatever they are stand
Oh,
out.
the current's not blowing it off anymore, huh?
No. Not
So maybe
not
can we
this
do a
ridge.
quick snap zoom on that sponge in front of us?
Yeah, of course. We're gonna come in and get a zoom of the sponge real quick.
I think that's an associate.
Yeah, it looks like a crinoid on a sponge.
Yeah. On your command.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Roger.
So we're definitely looking at a feather star or a comatulate crinoid on the top of this sponge.
All right, I'm good now. I mean,
The
just
sponge
hit focus.
itself.
Okay. I'll hold it for 8 to 10. And we can get another shot.
And just to quickly come back to what Scott was saying earlier about upwelling currents along the vertical wall, it looks like we can get some current identification or current direction identification from the drag along those arms, and it looks like it's actually coming down the wall. What do you think, Scott? Is this just a local current, or is this more
current as well?
Yeah.
regional?
All right.
And let me get the base.
The base. Copy
There
that.
we go.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I think we're good.
So yeah, that sponge
hold us for 5.
Chris has identified as a Trudopleura. So those are typically branched, and
All right, coming out full wide.
but of course, when they're young, they're not branched.
There we go.
Lifting off.
Nice funnel straight ahead.
Yeah, Daniel, there's one
so we
species,
wanna-
I think we're calling it
head on towards
Tretopleura
labeled
species
dogleg
1A or
now?
something like that, that doesn't branch. We used to call it the paddle
features
sponge.
coming up. Looking at
Oh,
my
excellent.
sonar. If you look at my sonar, this is a little.
I think that's another one right on the
Maybe a ridge?
in the distance on the top of that
Along-
rock.
following
Same
along
thing,
this-
I think just a larger colony.
Perfect,
nose,
yeah.
so I can follow along the nose.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, a little south of west.
Yeah, oh, this is going to be cool looking.
Yep.
It's nice
Pilots,
since
do you
there's
wanna
nothing behind it. It really
15
highlights.
meter move at all?
Do you want a shot of it?
Heck yes. We don't get these a lot with nothing behind them.
Okay.
Stand by on that move just
Yeah.
while he's doing this video. I mean,
Looks like there's
ahead.
Can we turn to lasers also?
Yep.
Sure.
And take my camera when you're ready.
I am ready.
Yes.
I have it.
Sweet. Come on up a
So,
little.
yeah, that.
Just want to get the all dark background behind it. There we go.
There's another one of these hexagonal sponges in the genus Tretopleura. As Chris Kelly alluded to earlier, there's both a branched and unbranched species here, and both of those are not identified yet. We just have them currently as species 1A and 1B.
Give me a little tilt down.
And that's very common for a lot of these groups that we don't have the definitive species ID. In many cases, they're undescribed. Beautiful.
So this sponge, Daniel, is an example of a hard sponge. That one you collected earlier, I thought it was going to turn out to be hard, but it wasn't. It was soft, and you could see it was flexible. But this one is completely rigid. It has a completely fused skeleton. So if you actually were to grab it, it would literally break in half. We've got a bunch of these specimens, so that certainly isn't necessary. But just pointing out that some of the sponges down there, the glass sponges, are soft, and some of them are hard.
Anemone down
Yeah, excellent.
below us, right in there.
Just snap in there.
Yeah, and that's a major grouping, and then that, and there we have an anemone.
Backing.
You could tilt it up just a little bit and get it.
Yeah.
And to our right is another hard sponge, and that's in the family Furiidae.
Good.
And that's the one that I've been referring to as Furia near Oka erecta. And some dead sponge material.
Pull wide. Laser's still on.
Yeah, we'll leave them on for
Yeah, that's fine.
now. Leave them on for a bit. People get an idea of scale.
Looks like that sponge picked a really good spot.
Yeah.
Coming up on another chrysogorget coral here.
So I just wanted to point out that Roland spotted a stock sponge further down below us, directly on the cliff face, on the video about 6 minutes ago. So I don't think we've seen any stock sponges on the dive so far today.
From a distance, yeah, and I did see it too,
Okay.
but yeah, it was a little bit out of our reach, I think. So no need to backtrack.
Oh yeah, no need. Just wanted to point it out for any shore-based scientists that would like to see that, like Chris.
So.
Yeah, guys, the Saccocalyx that we saw earlier, that's a stock sponge.
Along and then
Copy that, Chris. Thanks.
overhanging, like something fell out from underneath. I'll fly around and show you that.
Yeah, very remarkable topography here.
kind of hole of sorts with a collection of things in it.
Might be getting close to the end of your leash there if you head out that direction.
Okay.
And on that side of the wall, we see a Venus flight trap.
Trying to sidle back towards
anemone, so that's in the family Hormathiidae,
right.
and likely in the genus Philiactis.
Okay. Are we wanting to come up and push ahead a little, or?
That sounds good to me. Head towards the dogleg.
Is there anything in here, Science, before we start moving the ship? We're going to get moving along our track unless you have something you really want to see here.
No, we're good to move on.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Let's go for it. Let's dial that in then. We'll come back up.
Pat, do you feel more comfortable with shorter moves, or?
Absolutely shorter moves, at least until... Well, yeah, we don't have far to move anyways. We're only 20 meters total. So you could probably...
How far to that target?
40
stretched out at my tether here. So you could... It's 40 to the target?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, from Sirius. No, from D2.
From D2,
40.
it's 40.
Wow.
You can just make that target active. If you just right-click on the dogleg.
What do you think, Sean?
Select.
And Chris, what do we?
Just hit select.
Do you want to do a 20-meter hop?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So, not even the length of the tether, and I'm here and safe. So.
Yeah, I think 25 would be good.
25 is even better.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
25.
Yep.
Copy that.
So Sean, when you just selected that, all of your headings and all the distances for all vehicles now match up to that target, so you can use that as a nav tool.
Thank you.
Just coming back over here where it's a little more comfortable.
Copy that. I won't move my heading unless I tell you.
So we're just...
Assume that's a drill.
Yeah.
So just for you folks that might be wondering what's going on and all this bells and whistles, today is drill day on the ship, so there's a series of drills that are going on in our background.
Okay, we're just going to let the ship catch up.
All stations bridge confirms drill.
Does this sponge have a branch on it? Is that of interest?
Thank you, video.
Yeah, let's take a quick look.
For us, video.
Roger, coming in. Holding.
Yeah.
And brighten that up if you want, or we can just hold here.
Repeat your last video.
Are we good here, or you want that brighter? You want me to go in more?
Whatever's good for you. I'm happy.
Yeah, we're a little ways
Whatever,
off from it. So
yeah,
I can try
whatever science needs. This is of interest to them. Otherwise, we can move on. I can also get closer if you really want to get a good shot of it.
So no, that is that's quite all right. Thank you. So yeah, this is now the branch form.
Yeah.
Of that Tritopleura. So that would be the species 1B.
I think we're good here.
All right,
Coming
thanks,
out.
video.
Just going to push in past skids.
I'm just going to tilt up too. That's good.
Yeah,
There you go.
pilot, I'm headed your way, so
All right.
got some time to explore. Looks like you're clear of overhangs for the immediate
Yeah.
future.
I've got lots of interesting targets out ahead. Nothing flat and menacing.
Nav confirmed 280.
Yes, we were traveling at 280.
Copy that.
And you're on 280 track right now, right?
Affirmative.
Yeah. Perfect. Sweet.
What am I doing for?
Yeah, it's interesting to me that the fish have become very scarce now. We saw quite a few of them when we were on more flat topography, and now that we're in this high relief area, we're seeing no fish really, and that's very different from even shallower water of 500 meters or so less than what we're in, where you start to see more of the acanthomorph fish that like the shelter of ledges.
The geology why
no fish.
Sirius catches
Yeah, copy that, Bruce. Also, we've had a change in slope and less sediment deposition. So is there any connection between slope sediment deposition and fish preference to that habitat?
Some of the fish that we're seeing, often like the halosaurs, some of the macruras, not all of them, and some of the ophidias feed on benthic invertebrates or infauna, things that are in the sediments. So that may have a lot to do with it. It may be the availability of prey for some of these types of fishes.
Not on the pinnacle yet.
Yeah, so
we're basically
great. Thanks for that
top.
explanation. That helps me a lot.
Yeah, so from Sirius, if it was a straight shot, it's about 175 meters. Do you still want to go more west into this little saddle, though, before we start going up towards the pinnacle?
Yeah.
Okay, copy that. No problem.
Now, the other interesting thing about this substrate is it looks like there aren't many holes for small invertebrates or little crustaceans to find shelter in, and that's another thing that might be related to prey for the fish species. This, to my eye, looks relatively smooth. There's some cracks and things in the wall, but it's not very rugose.
Confirm we're trying to head towards that saddle and then go up, right?
Yeah, it looks like the surface of this wall has been pretty much cemented manganese coating, so can't really see any kind of flow structures or any kind of details hiding under that heavy coat of manganese either.
Do you want to dial in?
I was just getting an updated position here from our navigator, and so we're about 170 meters away from the top of the pinnacle. So we are actually not on the pinnacle itself.
Whatever you think gets us to
so we have about a little over 2 hours remaining, so we'll start moving towards the pinnacle.
Let's check in Sirius sonar.
Sirius about 50.
Yeah. What do you think, co-pilot? 35 meters. Is that our? I mean, I'm.
Just do 25.
Okay.
Because I can see now the ROV is 28 meters from that target.
Yeah. Okay.
So that'll get us close enough to arbitrary dog leg. Keep it a little safer.
I like it.
So maybe we can take a quick look at that white animal. So not the coral in front of it, but I think it's a sponge behind it.
Okay. Come in for the sponge.
Thank you, Bridge.
Yeah, we already have requested that, Chris, so we'll get you a close-up here.